hear the Chinese talking about Taiwan and taking control of Taiwan, which, by the way, they've never had. I can just quickly go through that history. But the Taiwanese actually ruled all of China up until the end, until 1948, basically, when the communists finally took over all of China, and the Taiwanese essentially retreated to Taiwan, and at that particular time, America recognized them as being the legitimate government of all of China. So the Chinese never ever controlled Taiwan for 1 second in recent history. And then before before World War II, the Japanese owned Taiwan, which is also very interesting because they owned Taiwan for more than 50 years. And again, China had absolutely nothing to do with it. And the only reason why the Japanese left Taiwan was because they lost World War II. And then the Chinese Revolution and the retreat to Taiwan. Prior to the Japanese ownership of Taiwan, Taiwan was an Asian backwater. I mean, it had fishing villages. It was just a speck of island in the Western Pacific. It's actually quite big. So if you were to take the distance between Washington D.C. and New York City, that is roughly the length of Taiwan. And then if you were to go over from the Atlantic coast, let's call it sort of midway into Pennsylvania. That's sort of the width of Taiwan. So it's quite a big island, but it was a backwater. And it was a backwater for hundreds of years. It was just not paid attention to by anybody. And then prior to that period, Taiwan was owned by the Portuguese, and they were also owned by the Dutch. And they still have Portuguese and Dutch cemeteries in Taipei today. I lived over there for 10 years, more or less. My wife is from Taiwan, so I know the whole history.